Have you ever felt trapped? Like you're on a treadmill, running and running, but getting nowhere? That was me a few years back. Exhausted, burnt out, and wondering what it was all for. I was caught in the rat race, chasing deadlines, appointments, and to-do lists. Always rushing, never present. One day, I collapsed. Not physically, but emotionally. I realized I was living by everyone else's expectations of time. I was a slave to the clock. That's when I started questioning everything. Why was I letting this invisible force control my life? What if there's another way? A way to break free from the chains of time and live life on my own terms. That's what this essay is all about. It's about reclaiming our time, our energy, and our lives. It's about tuning into our internal rhythms and living with intention. Here's a radical thought. Time, as we know it, doesn't really exist. It's a concept, a construct we've created to measure the world around us. Think about it. Time is relative. A minute can feel like an eternity or a blink of an eye, depending on what you're doing. We've become so fixated on seconds, minutes, and hours that we've forgotten how to truly experience life. We've traded presence for productivity, joy for achievement. But what if we could step outside the clock? Our ancestors lived by the sun and the moon. They woke with the sunrise, worked with the seasons, and rested under the stars. Their lives were governed by natural cycles, not by the artificial ticking of a clock. Then came the Industrial Revolution. Suddenly, time became a commodity, something to be measured, maximized, and monetized. Factories demanded punctuality, schedules ruled our lives, and the clock became king. We became obsessed with efficiency, with squeezing every last drop of productivity out of each day. But in the process, we lost something essential, our connection to our natural rhythms, to our bodies, to the present moment. Time is money, a phrase that perfectly encapsulates the Industrial Revolution's impact on our relationship with time. Factories needed workers to show up at precise times to keep the machines running. Time became a valuable resource, and wasting it was seen as a loss of potential profit. This mentality seeped into every aspect of life. We started scheduling everything, from work to leisure, meals to meetings. We became slaves to the clock, constantly chasing deadlines and measuring our worth by how much we could accomplish in a given time frame. Section 5. Einstein's time. Even science tells us that time is not absolute. Einstein's theory of relativity showed that time is fluid, relative to the observer's motion and gravity. You see, a minute on Earth is not the same as a minute in space. Time is not a straight line. It's a curve, a bend, a possibility. So why do we cling so tightly to this rigid, linear notion of time? Section 6. The tyranny of the clock. The clock is a tyrant. It rules our days, dictates our schedules, and steals our joy. We're constantly rushing, always behind, never fully present. This constant pressure to conform to the clock's demands takes a toll. Stress, anxiety, burnout. These are the hallmarks of a life lived by the clock. We're so busy chasing the clock that we forget to chase our dreams, to nurture our relationships, to savor the simple pleasures of life. Section 7. Living with intention. What if we could break free from the tyranny of the clock? What if we could reclaim our time and live with intention? Imagine waking up without an alarm clock, feeling rested and refreshed. Imagine working when you're most productive and resting when your body needs it. Imagine spending your days doing what you love with the people you love without feeling rushed or pressured. This is the promise of living beyond the clock. It's about aligning your life with your values, your passions, and your natural rhythms. It's about being present, mindful, and grateful for each moment. Section 8. The wisdom within. Our bodies are wise. They have an innate rhythm, a natural ebb and flow. But we've been taught to ignore these signals, to push through fatigue, to override our intuition. We eat when the clock tells us to, not when we're hungry. We sleep when we're supposed to, not when we're tired. We've become disconnected from our bodies, from our inner wisdom. But what if we started listening? What if we paid attention to our energy levels, our cravings, our sleep patterns? Our bodies would guide us towards a more balanced, harmonious way of living. Section 9. A world without clocks. Imagine a world without clocks. A world where people lived by their own rhythms, where work was flexible and time was abundant. A world where relationships were nurtured, creativity flourished, and joy was a way of life. It may sound like a utopia, but it's closer than you think. More and more people are waking up to the limitations of a clock-based life. They're embracing flexible work schedules, prioritizing self-care, and living with intention. It's time to reclaim our time. It's time to break free from the clock's grip and step into the flow of life. It's time to trust our intuition, honor our rhythms, and live each day with purpose and joy. The time is now.